Have you ever heard someone say, he wasn't like this when we got married? She used to be very kind. He has changed. This is not the person I knew. Perhaps you may have even said those words yourself. You see, one of the most painful experiences in life is watching someone you once admired become someone you barely recognize. It could be a spouse, a close friend, a colleague at work, a church member, or even yourself. But here is an important truth. People barely become different overnight. Most behavioral changes that seem sudden actually become visible after the internal changes has occurred over the weeks, the months, and sometimes even years. So like a tree, before you see the fruit appearing, something has already been happening beneath the surface, in the root. Today, we'll be exploring why people suddenly seem to be different and why we shouldn't just be quick to judge them. 3 myths about human behavior. One is that people never change. Many people believe that personality and behavior are fixed forever. That's simply a lie. Human beings constantly change because we are influenced by experiences, relationship, beliefs, environment, successes, disappointment, and sometimes even biological changes that happens within. Some people become kinder with age while others become bitter. Some become wiser, others become reckless as the day goes by. The real question is not whether people changes, but what is shaping that redirection or that change. Why? The second myth is that if someone changes, they were pretending all along. This is another commonly misunderstood explanations of human behaviors. Sometimes people were not pretending, but sometimes they may be. A loving husband may become emotionally distant years after unresolved stress. A cheerful employee may become withdrawn because of burnout. A committed church worker may lose enthusiasm after a repeated disappointment. The change may not be fake. It may be a result of accumulated experiences that have altered how they think and how they feel. Myth number 3 is that behavior changes without a reason. Nothing could be further from the truth than that statement itself. Because human behavior is really a random occurrence. Every behavior has a story behind it. That story may involve fear, pain, disappointment, trauma, exhaustion, identity, or a new perspective about life. You see, as a counselor, I often say that behavior is communication, and that people's action often tell us what we cannot what they cannot find the word to express. So instead of acting out or saying the thing, they act it out. So then, why do behavior changes? Let us examine some of these very important reasons why some people changes in their behavior occur. The changes in their behavior occur. One is pain. Pain changes people. Pain is one of the greatest life teacher. You see, many people don't just change until the consequences of their choice or their choices become unavoidable. Pain may come through betrayal, divorce, unemployment, financial hardship, illness, repeated failures, or the loss of someone they truly love. Pain can either soften a person or harden them. Some some become more compassionate because they understand the suffering of other people, while others become guided because they fear being hurt again. The same experience can produce a different outcome depending on how, each person processed that change that have just occurred or the loss that they have just felt. Another reason people change is new information. You see, new information changes behavior. People make decisions based on what they believe is true. When beliefs changes, behavior often follows. Someone who learned healthy communication begins to speak differently. Someone who discover the danger of poor financial habits become more disciplined, and someone who understands forgiveness begins to relate with people differently. See, knowledge shapes thinking, and that thinking influences the behavior that you then see them display. Another thing that shapes human behavior is environment. Environment shapes behavior because human beings adapt to their environment. Your environment influences your habits, your priorities, your conversations with people. Your expectations even of people are shaped by the environment, and sometimes your character is shaped by the environment that you live in. So a supportive work place can bring out confidence in an employee, and a toxic workplace can produce anxiety. So healthy friendship usually encourages us to grow. Negative association, on the other hand, encourages this destructive habit. So, as the saying goes, show me your environment, and I will tell you your future behavior. I will predict your future behavior. Another thing that shapes our identity is our behavior, is identity change. Identity changes behavior because people behave according to who they believe that they are. So when identity change, behavior often follows. So a person who now sees himself as a husband become more responsible. A woman who embraces her calling as a leader begins to make different decisions. And someone who truly understands their identity in Christ begin to pursue holiness instead of merely trying to appear religious. So you can see from all of this that identity always and truly influences the conduct of people. Another thing that shapes our behavior is purpose. See, purpose creates transformation. Purpose recognizes priorities. So when people discover something bigger than themselves, many unhealthy habits begin to lose appeal to them. Purpose gives people a reason to become disciplined. Without purpose, people drift. With purpose, people become intentional in how they live their life. They become intentional in the relationships that they keep, and the environment in which they place themselves. So let us go ahead and begin to look at some practical instances where this plays out. Imagine a man who suddenly becomes quiet at home, and then his wife may probably conclude, "You don't love me anymore." But what if his recent loss, a major client, his loss of a major client, put financial pressure on him? His behavior changed because his internal world have changed. Or considering an employee whose performance suddenly declined, the manager labels him as lazy or has lost motivation. Later, the manager discovers that he has been caring for a sick parent every night. You see, the behavior was visible, but the reason wasn't. And so, I'm going to share something that happened in one of my counseling sessions just to throw more light. You see, a couple came in for counseling. His wife described her husband as cold, distant, and emotionally unavailable. When we explore the story and the situation, something unexpected emerged. You see, several years later, he had experienced repeated business failures. He never recovered emotionally, and his silence was not lack of love for his wife. It was an unresolved shame that he has experienced. So once the real issue was uncovered and addressed, we noticed that communication gradually improved in their relationship. You see, the behavior changed because the hidden wound was finally acknowledged and addressed. There is this other story about a young professional that I would like to also share here, just to give more clarity. You see, another client came to the office and he was labeled as rude, difficult. People assumed that he had a terrible attitude. But during our counseling sessions, it was discovered that he had been under tense financial pressure while caring for his younger sibling after the death of a parent. So his anger was not simply bad character, it was a chaotic emotional exhaustion that had not been addressed. So you see, again, understanding the cause did not excuse the inappropriate behavior, but it did explain it. And the explanation is often the first step towards lasting change. So, as a leader in a workplace, effective leadership don't just judge behaviors quickly. Instead, it asks what is wrong with the employee. What went wrong? And then you begin to have the person really try to open up to you. What may have changed in his personal life? Strong leaders understand that performance is often connected to emotional well-being of the individual staff. This does not mean ignoring performance. It simply means that you investigate before you conclude. Leaders who understands people create a culture of trust, of accountability, and growth. So how do we apply this to our relationship, our marriages, and our relationship with our loved ones, or even parenting sometimes? You see, relationship often suffer because people feel misinterpret the behaviors of their partner and fail to contextualize it. When your spouse change, avoid rushing to conclusions or accusation. Instead, ask questions such as, is something bothering you? Have you been under unusual pressure lately? How can I support you? When when did this begin? You see, curiosity builds connection. Assumption will create conflict. Understanding does not mean that you are approving the unhealthy behavior. I need to say that clearly. But it helps you to respond with wisdom rather than reaction. So, having said all of this, what are you expected to take away from this conversation? Next time someone says to you, you have changed, pause before making a judgment. Remember that the principle that people rarely change overnight. Something changes inside them long before the behavior changes on the outside. So if you only respond to the behavior, you may have missed the real problem. So learn to look beneath the surface. Seek understanding before you judge. And then ask better questions to unravel what is really behind that behavior. Listen more carefully. And I need you to remember that behavior is often the symptom. The real issue usually lies beneath that behavior. So when we understand people better, we lead better, we love better, we counsel better, and we build healthier relationships. Thank you for watching. If this teaching has been helpful, I need you to share the link with somebody who needs it and follow for more practical insights on leadership, relationship, emotional intelligence, and personal growth. Together, I want us to learn to understand people before we judge them. Till we meet on the next one, please do well to like, subscribe, and click on the notification button so that you will be the first to receive this notification. Please do well to drop a comment, some of those challenging situations you've had, and let us engage in the comment section. And maybe you can also suggest something you want me to talk about in my subsequent videos. I'm Dr. Solomon Arasa. Bye for now.